Creator of Quest for Lubok. Today's video, I'm going to be discussing the new update that I released. Now, as you know, and if you don't know, I'm just going to tell you guys again. Quest for Lubok is an ever-growing expansion world set in a fantasy, sorta horror, sorta exploration type game where you, the player, are an adventurer who stumbled across this ancient land. A place untouched by human hands and unseen by human eyes since 1,000 years ago, let's say. And so that's what this whole game is about. It's an exploration text adventure game written entirely in Qbasic. Oh, I should say basic. Because there's a lot of variations of basic, and since I am using a variation of Qbasic, I'm just going to say basic. So anyways, with this whole vast world, you play as an explorer, an adventurer of sorts, and you go through this entire landscape, finding Prince Lubok, the Dark Prince, if you may. Now, the Dark Prince is an evil creature, an evil being. I say creature because he may or may not be human. Don't know yet. And neither will you. But that's the thing about this game, is that basically you're finding out all these tidbits, all these little morsels of information. And so people are all around saying like, hey, the Dark Prince Lubok destroyed my home or destroyed my farm and did this and that and the whole thing. And it's just one of those adventure type games where you could actually go out and see the world for what it is. And the world is a very dark place. Let's face it. The world is a dark, dark place. Our world. So I figured, might as well make this world also in the game very dark and whimsical and magical. And so with it, you find many locations like the ancient castle, the cemetery, a forest, what else? An underground village, farmland. There's a church in it. I think I already said church. Whatever. But anyways, my latest addition to it is the Great Library. Now, within the Great Library, you're able to read up on every room almost has a book. And you can just go in there and read like a little blurb here, a little blurb there of like the different backgrounds and histories of the entire place. And so there's stuff about like a food dish. I'm not going to say too much about it because I actually really enjoy it. And I actually really want to try to make it because I think it'll be actually not too shabby. But then again, you get like stuff like an adventure, like notes from adventurers and stuff like that. And you can take the books if you want. Well, there is the option to take books, but you can't take the books. Now, the reason why behind this is that I like to keep, I like to think of it as, I added this really nice line. It's basically you can't take the books because another adventurer may need to, might want to read it. And the reasoning behind that is because I like to kind of keep the world as vast and as open as possible. A world where you could actually go wandering about. And in the back of your mind, you could always be like, oh, someone's going to come back and read this book or whatever like that. I just like that little bit of consistency, that little bit of realism. Where it's like, well, I can take this, but what about the next person that's probably like 30, 40 moves behind me? I'm going to leave it here. And in the library, you come across a librarian, you come across ghosts, lost souls, an old guard who is standing by waiting for the days of old to return where he was somebody of virtue and fame. And that's what you get within the game. You get a lot of characters like this. You get a lot of the people that yearn and pine for the ways of the old world from to which all hell broke loose. And they really claim that they want to help and they want to rebuild and stuff like that. But a lot of the times these people are just standing around. So far, like, that's what this whole concept is, right? Within the Great Library. It's like the last bastion of their civilization, the last step of their society before it all crumbles away. We've seen so many pieces of history like this. You go to any any society that has collapsed or is on the verge of collapse. All their knowledge, all their collected thoughts and writings or whatever are all in the libraries. The Library of Alexandria, or Alexander, I believe. I don't know. I probably pronounced that wrong, but uh, it's just like that. It's like the Pompeii Library. If there was a library in Pompeii that wasn't destroyed, you can imagine all that stuff that was, well, it's all probably destroyed, but just think about it. The day before that volcano erupted, you know, what great knowledge is within those walls. And that's what you get within this game. And you kind of see it, like, because I always pictured a game like Zork to have such a wonderful library within the game. Because you always learn little bits and pieces and stuff like that. And this was at the time with the whole vast underground empire, which is always a lot of fun. But then you move away from the Great Library where you learn all this stuff, and then you can find the map. Oh, that's right. There's a map in the game, like you'd find in any library. There's just like a giant, vast map on a canvas, and it tells you about all this, shows you like the new, like the locations within the game. A lot of them haven't been added in yet, but a few of them have, and it's a nice little nod, I think, to the whole concept of it. I actually really like that. I was like, you know what? If I put a map in a game, it's going to be kind of offsetting, or not offsetting, off-putting, because I don't really. A map would be good, but you already have the directional indicators on the screen for the mapping system. But moving on from that, you go on to the Great Witch. Well, she's not really great. I don't know why I said Great Witch. She is the witch within the game. And by doing so, you will go through a dense, dead forest, twisting and turning through this entire landscape. And then you find her hut. And then you're introduced to a whole bunch of other people. Just a few other characters within the game. It's just one of those things that you're able to do. And there's strange wooden carving and warning signs, and the forest within to where this witch lives. It's almost as if it's alive, and you go about this whole area just kind of thinking, just kind of figuring out everything about this world, and you start to see that within this vast pocket of dead forest, of dead trees, you start to realize that the whole entire existence of this person is just to cut themselves off from the society that she lived in, because she was just disgusted and tired with how the world was. She's a nomadic soul. The nomadic soul would move forward and rather live on their own than live within a world of death and chaos and destruction. I like to think that the witch within the game is someone that saw the writing on the wall, knew her days were numbered with everyone else's, and decided to live out the rest of her days in solace. And you find that with a few other people too that are scattered within that place because they want to live a quiet, peaceful life, free of the confines of their society, free of the confines of Prince Lubok, and then go about their ways like that, just trying to form an existence. And you find that a lot within this game too, and you'll see it within a lot of the little nicks, like the little nooks and crannies within this game, within the society that these people live in. And you get to see that a lot more with every passing moment within the game. And so far, I believe we're already at 642 rooms. I like to call each movement within the game a room because it's a lot easier to map out, and that's just the way I am. I like just to have the whole thing set up like that. And I think that you will really find to go ahead and enjoy this whole entire vast world that I've created, because it will really bring out the sense of adventure, the idea that you can live a life within another plane of existence, to roam around and just see all the chaos, all the madness, and all the sadness that is really trapped within this world. And from going about that, you're going to start to see other locations opening up. I already have 3 other phases already opened up within this area, which I'm mapping out right now. And you're going to really see something really nice come about it. And I think you're honestly going to get a kick out of it, because it's just one of the few things within this game that I want to tell to the world. And that's what this whole game is. It's that it's just an open world adventure game of sorts where you could just freely roam around and do whatever you will, whatever you want within the limits of your own imagination. But with that being said, thank you so much for joining me. Check it out. If you haven't already, follow me on Twitter. Follow me on, I don't know, my website, questforlubok.org. If you haven't already, play Quest for Lubok. You can play it online. It is on the website. Just click on play the game, or whatever it is located as. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe, like, comment, share, and spread the news. I hope you guys all enjoy this video. Good day, good night, good afternoon, and